Youngest in the Yacht Club. I am Vince Serrano. Yo, today we got a special guest. Yo, he's a knockout artist. He's a hard worker, and he's kind of a boxing influencer. We got Chino Lopez. What's up, bro?
How's it going, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We always start off Youngest in the Yacht Club with the same question. Who is Chino Lopez?
I would say Chino Lopez is just the hardest worker out there, to be honest. I feel as if there's always a new level to reach, and that's what Chino Lopez is always trying to get to, always just trying to be better.
Yeah, that's fire, bro. When you said you're a hard worker, and I can tell because you're saying, hey, look, there's always a level to be reached, but like, what level, like, what level are you trying to get to?
I'm trying to get to the top, any shape or form that may be, whatever I got to do to get there. I feel as if there have been a lot of role models in my life that have kind of showed me to get to that point and to have that ambition in me to always keep trying to, okay, next. So I feel like that drive has kind of been instilled in me, and that's just who I am.
Yeah. When you say like to the top, does that mean like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean like
world champ?
Okay.
Undisputed, lineal, going, whatever it is. I still got my story to write, you know what I mean? So whatever that may be, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to show everybody just how great I am. That's
awesome, bro. So I know you because I've been going to the gym. We've been going to Manette's.
Yep.
And I've seen how hard you work, man. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? The dedication that you have to the sport of boxing. I want to ask you a question. Like, what's your upbringing? Like, where'd you come from? Who, you know what I'm saying? Where were you born? All that stuff.
I was born in New York. And I feel as if I kind of just always grew up around boxing. This was kind of always just, maybe even if it wasn't always what I wanted to do, I felt like it was something that was kind of destined. My father he's a huge fan of boxing. So, my earliest memories, I always remember watching boxing on the TV, playing, and there would always be boxing. So,
right.
As I grew up, I feel like I kind of grew an appreciation for the sport just because it was simple but complicated at the same time, and brutal but beautiful. It was that duality to me that kind of drew me to it, and that passion that came from it, So I think growing up, I was just always kind of a fan of it. And when we finally moved out to Florida, we got, we found a trainer, and we got with him, and we just started training, and I just fell in love with the sport. Honestly, I fell in love with the sport. And
how old were you when you started?
I started when I was 11.
Oh, wow.
I started at 11, but again, my earliest memories was always boxing on the TV. So I always remember boxing, it always being there. And then I always had my dad there too. He's always been my number one supporter. So him trying to teach me, okay, you got to get better at this. We got to do this, right? Having that support to me meant everything, and was able to really elevate my game, and I think really helped stand me out amongst everybody else.
That's cool, man. What high school did you go to? What part of Florida did you move to?
We moved to Land O'Lakes.
Okay.
So I went to Land O'Lakes High School.
That's like right outside Tampa area.
Yeah, it's like about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I remember there wasn't really much to do over there. So outside of school, it was training.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's what I would do for fun.
So you literally just immersed yourself in the boxing culture.
Oh yeah, I was every day I was trying to find a ride to the gym.
Yeah.
How can I get to the gym? You know what I mean? Every time my pops would work, so I'd have to like hit up some of my friends. I'd be like, hey, I need a ride to the gym today. Or
that's fire, bro.
I'd ask my mom, can you take me to the gym, or Uber a couple of times if I had to. I just always needed to find a way to the gym. It felt therapeutic to me.
Wow. So when you're coming up and at 11 years old, right? You're going through it. You got your dad, Teddy Lopez.
Yep.
So you got your dad, and he's kind of like influenced you, right? And you're seeing it, you're falling in love with the sports. Who were some of the people that you looked up to in boxing that really influenced you? Like, oh man, like.
I mean, the biggest one probably Manny Pacquiao. Just his work ethic. Just to see his story, how he came from nothing, came up to be one of, if not the best boxer in the world.
Wow.
You have like Sugar Ray Leonard, Canelo, Miguel Cotto, all these different champions. Oh my gosh, I can't name them all.
Yeah.
Duran.
Yeah. So
many.
Just studying as many as there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like part of being a boxer is learning and picking up a little bit from everybody.
For sure.
Just learning the sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being able to pick up. I feel like you could learn from everyone.
Yeah, that's huge, man. Especially when you're like, you're trying to figure out who you are, right? And trying to, especially at the beginning, right? You're learning. How was that? Were you just naturally good at boxing when you started, or?
No, I don't feel like anybody's just naturally good at boxing. I don't think that anybody's just naturally good at anything. I think they have good attributes for it. Like some people are just faster, some people just have better footwork, some people have better gifts, right? I think it's all in the dedication and the hard work. I think that's what really makes the greats. That's what makes the best, how dedicated they are to it. And I think that's what helped me so much throughout time, just because I was studying and I had my father there to push me. Hey, you should watch this fighter. Hey, you should do this, study this guy, pick up a little bit from everything to go ahead and do that. So I think that really sped up my journey along the way a lot more, especially because I was, I think, very small at the time. For my age and my weight, I was very, very small. So I had to learn a little bit more of the nuances of the sport and really study, really just not count on my physicality, but my mind instead.
Man, that's dope, man. How did you balance boxing and school and anything else?
Well, honestly, growing up, my mom was more in charge of school.
Okay. Dad was like, hey, sports.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it was. But they had an agreement where as long as I was getting good grades, I could box. So that's kind of how it was. So I always tried making sure my grades were good and as good as possible. That way I could continue to box, right? Because there would be times where my mom would go ahead and say, hey, you did bad on this test, so you got to stay home and study, or do a makeup test for it, or do something, or extra credit or something.
Right.
So for me, again, that was another motivation. Okay, now I need to study twice as hard, or I need to do even better at school because I want to go and box.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to go to the gym.
Added motivation, added accountability.
Exactly.
You think that helped you?
I think it did. Just because I feel like when you're truly passionate about something and truly motivated about something, you'll find a way to be able to do what it is that you need to do, right?
Wow.
So for me, I think that's the same thing even now, because I work now. I'm a personal trainer now. So for me, I'll go ahead and I'll try to knock out all my personal sessions so that I can go back to the gym and train.
Wow.
Or there will be, the sooner I'm done training, the sooner I can work so that I can go train again.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Right. So
you're constantly pushing yourself to be able to get back in the gym,
right?
Handling whatever responsibilities you have.
Exactly.
Man. How old are you, bro?
I'm 24.
Man, that's awesome.
24.
So you're like coming into that age, right, where you're like at that point where it's like, okay, this is what I do. How many fights do you have?
As an amateur, I finished with an amateur record of about 75-5.
Damn, so 80 fights?
80 fights.
80 amateur fights.
Not including exhibitions.
Wow.
Exhibitions is probably around another 5.
Wow.
Something like that. So around probably 85.
85 fights.
I can't even tell you how many rounds of sparring.
Yeah, just crazy.
Hours, yeah. And as a pro, we're 6-0 with 4 KOs.
Wow. So what was the transition from, well, not even that. Like, how did your first amateur Do you remember your first amateur bout?
Yeah, I remember my first amateur fight. It was actually the weekend right before my dad's birthday. So
Wow.
I made sure I was like, I need to get him a win. I need to make sure my first amateur fight I win so that he could remember this. This could be my birthday present to him, right? And I remember going into it, I'm not even going to lie, I was so nervous. I was so nervous because I had put that pressure on myself. I need to get this win. I need to show him, you know, how much this means to me, and I need this to be his present. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I went out there and I just fought. I fought my heart out. I was 12 at the time. I just turned 12. And yeah, it was after that I was like, this is definitely something I could see myself doing. This is something that I love. It was that feeling afterwards of when they raise your hand. It's like, yeah, it's addicting. It's like I need more of this.
Wow.
So I think that was another big motivator for me. I was like always trying to chase that feeling, on to the next.
So you did win your first bout.
I did, yeah.
Okay, that's fire. Did like while you were in there, like you fought, like do you feel like obviously you got better and better and better, but and you won, so you did something correctly, right?
Right.
But what do you think that you just like, did you know you win, or you know, how did that feel like?
I feel like there's always a bit of anxiety after a fight because you never know what the judges are looking at. So I would say I was a little nervous to get the win, but at the end of the day I knew that I had put and done everything that I could to get that win. So I was like, whatever happens, but I really hope I win. You know what I mean?
You're putting everything into it.
Right. Yeah. So at the end of the day I was very anxious about it, but again, once I did get my hands raised, I was like, okay. It was like a big sigh of relief, and then just that joy, that Cloud 9 type of feeling. You know what I mean?
How long did you fight amateur before you went pro?
Oh man, I started when I was 12. I've been pro for almost 2 years now.
Wow.
So at least about like 11, 12 years.
Wow.
I've been fighting amateurly. And we've just been trying to improve every single time that we go out there. Just put on a better show.
Yeah.
And just showcase our skills. Just showcase how much we've been growing as a fighter, how smart we've become, you know, how hard we work. And just pick up these titles, you know, pick up these different state, regional, national titles, you know, just keep working on my resume. And once we were ready, I felt like we were ready.
What was the how was the decision to go pro? Like, what did that entail? Like, were you like, man, I just want to go pro already, or what was the whole?
I feel as if I was like that for a while, you know. I think up until I was about 22, I was like, okay, I'm done with the amateurs. I want to go ahead and go pro, because I knew I wanted to go pro since I was a kid. I knew that was always a dream, because the dream's always been world champ, right? So I knew that was a step that I wanted to take. It was just a matter of how we were going to get to it. You know what I mean? And we had known Yet for a while. We had sparred with his people. We knew just how much experience he had with professionals and professionally.
Right.
So we knew, hey, if this is the route we're going to go, this is who we need. Because he knows all these people, he's got all these connections, and he's got all this experience.
Yeah.
You know, we worked with him in the past with a couple of his guys, and we loved what he was doing. So we were like, okay, let's see if we could get him to take us on. Let's see if he could start training with him and turn pro.
Wow.
See what it was like. And I've been loving every step of the journey.
Yeah. How was your first pro fight? Like,
it was nerve-wracking. Yeah. It was definitely nerve-wracking, just because the gloves get smaller, the headgear comes off, you know, you need to start worrying about headbutts and everything. And I think just because I was training so long and fighting so long as an amateur, that was kind of it was a bit jarring to see the difference, because you really don't think it's going to be that big of a difference, but then you take the headgear off and it's like, wow, now you see a lot more. Now you need to worry a little bit more about elbows, about headbutts, about all these different things that you don't really have to worry about in the amateurs. Then you got to worry about you got some boxers who will go ahead and use those rough tactics. You know, they're longer. The rounds, you have more rounds now, because even once you start out, it's 4 rounds, right? That's still more than 3. So
yeah,
the pace changes a little bit. A lot of it changes as compared to professional. But I knew our preparation with Monye had us ready for that. You know, I knew he wouldn't let me go in there if I wasn't ready.
Wow.
You know, so we trusted him with that. So it took a little bit longer than we were expecting, but again, I don't have any regrets about it. I'm not disappointed about it, because I feel like everything happens for a reason, and at the right time.
We had Stevie Morgan. She talked about Monye on the show, and did he make you sit out a certain amount of time to get your skills up for the pros?
100%.
How much time did you have to sit out?
I was out for about 8 months, six to 8 months, something like that.
Yeah.
And that was just, and it wasn't just for skill set. It was everything. It was to make sure everything was the way that it was supposed to be. It was to make sure our conditioning was right. It was to make sure our diet was right. It was to make sure that we looked good in training. It was to make sure that our skills were where they were supposed to be. It was to make sure that we're learning mentally, to get to that point, to be ready, not just physically, but mentally. I feel like that's something that I think is very overlooked within the sport of boxing. I don't think people understand just how much of a mental game it truly is.
Wow.
You know, like he says all the time, it's 90% mental, 10% physical.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, because how could you explain that just a little bit? Just like why is that? Because especially when I see y'all running miles and I'm the last one that comes in. This feels more like 90% physical.
Right. Well, it becomes a little bit different because it's your mindset after you run that mile, right? Okay, you just ran this mile. Is your mind still strong enough to be able to focus and do what it is that you need to do, right? Because that's what it's going to be like when you're in a fight, right? Once you go ahead and you start smelling the popcorn and you see the lights and you're under them lights, you know, it takes a lot out of you. It does. Even if you don't think it does, mentally, it drains you a little bit. You get those butterflies. So
yeah,
what you want to do is get yourself to that point, right? Train yourself to that point where you do feel a little fatigued, you do feel a little drained, you do feel a little tired, and you're still able to perform, right? That's where I think it becomes more mental. Like they say all the time, well, like my dad says all the time, once you get hit, that's when you got to focus the most, right? Because you can't just go out there and try to get that shot right back. That's how you get countered. That's how you get knocked out, right?
Right.
You need to go ahead, okay, I got hit. Let me make the adjustment. Let me figure out what it is that I need to do. Make sure I don't get hit by that again. And hit him.
Right. Get to that point. Man, I feel like they say that boxing, you said it earlier, you said the boxing's brutal and, you know, you're seeing people. Does that ever worry you? Like, you ever worry about, like, the after effects of boxing or, you know, just, like, what it could do? Like, do you ever get, like, scared to get knocked out? Like, you know, have you ever felt anything like that? Like,
I just don't get hit. No, but seriously, I think it's a human thing to always think about that. Again, I just try my best not to get hit.
Yeah.
I try to avoid that as much as possible, you know, and train harder than the other person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I know in the back of my mind that I'm training harder than they are, then I don't have anything to worry about, right? If I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, then I don't have anything to worry about, right? So I let my training and my hard work be my confidence. You know, I'm confident in the work that I put in, right? You know, who else is doing what I'm doing? And that's why I continue to push myself, because that's where I want to be at. That's how I want the difference to be in our levels, just because I'm training much harder than they are. That's where my confidence stems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's super. It's exciting. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, and you know, you're not supposed to ask boxers, yo, do you ever think about losing or right? Because boxing, right? Any little bit of doubt, it'll creep up. But like those things, like you see sometimes, you know, I'll see people. I've had people on the show, and they're like, kind of like, you can tell they've taken a lot of hits,
right?
You know, and it's like you're saying you don't get hit, but have you ever been even in sparring sessions like buzzed or anything like that?
Of course I have. I mean, I feel everybody has, but it's not about getting hit. It's about what you do after you get hit. It's about keeping that mental fortitude to be able to push through it or figure out what it is that you need to do to push through it.
For sure.
Right? To be able to just keep coming forward.
I was going to ask that question because I've seen people get hit and not come back.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this isn't for me. They're done, right?
Yeah.
You probably caused that a few times,
once or twice.
Right?
Yeah.
You call it catching bodies. You caught a couple bodies. We see the tapes, man. People rolling around on the ground, like, you know. How do you, and the reason why I'm asking this is because, like, my girl, Jenny, you've met her.
Yeah.
She hates violence. Like, it's kind of crazy that she's in the boxing.
Yeah. Yeah. She's in there. She's killing it.
Right.
She's killing it.
But she hates violence.
Okay.
So I've seen where you're literally taking people out. Like, how does that make you feel? Be honest.
Honestly?
Yeah.
It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good because the way I look at it, it's them or me. And that's kind of the attitude you have to going into it, right? Because you never know. 8-ounce gloves, no headgear, one punch could change your life.
Yeah.
You know, so it's them or me, right? It's their family or mine, you know? And I love my family too damn much to let them down or to be gone or for them to have to deal without me being around, you know. I would do anything for them. So again, it's them or me, right? That's the way I look at it. That's my motivator right there. You know what I mean? I won't let it be me, right? So I'm gonna keep working hard to make sure that it isn't me.
That's fine, bro. That's fine, bro. When we come back, I'm gonna ask you, you know, because we talked a lot about boxing. We'll still continue to talk about it. I know you got a fight coming up that we want to promote, but I want to ask you more questions about your family. I want to ask you what you do outside of boxing because I know it's your life, right?
Yeah.
But I also want to ask a couple of those things when we get back, and then just kind of get some advice from you from other people that might want stuff. So
of course,
awesome, man. When we come back, we're back on Youngest in the Yacht Club, Chino. So you're 5-0,
6-0,
6-0, 4 knockouts,
4 knockouts. Yep.
Your first ever professional fight. How did it go? Obviously, you won.
Yeah. It went well. We could always do better.
Okay.
Right? So we got him out of there in 30 seconds. So
30 seconds.
Yeah.
What else could you have done?
There were just a couple things I saw that I didn't like. So, obviously going into that second fight, we were like, okay, let's make sure we fix a couple of these mistakes that we made here and there.
What mistakes did you see in 30 seconds, bro?
There were some points where I didn't like how my head movement was looking. I didn't like how my rhythm was looking. I'd say I'm pretty critical over how I rate myself. I'm probably one of my biggest critics. You know what I mean? So for me personally, I give it like a B+. That's just because it was first round knockout, but there's always stuff to work on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
boxing is kind of one of those things. There's always something to work on. You're never perfect.
Right. So in that short span of time, you were able to figure out that you needed to work on certain things.
Yeah.
And then you went right back into the gym.
Yeah.
Right afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you train for that first fight?
In total, we had a 6-week camp. That's pretty standard what we usually do for a fight.
Yeah.
Unless obviously we're working. I mean, I don't ever really stop going to the gym, so there's no breaks. But
So you were training all the way up until that point. Then you had a 6-week camp for the fight.
Mm-hmm. So usually the 6-week camp, we start. That's when we start up in the training. We start making it a little bit more intense, and then at the end is when we start doing the weight cut and everything, right? But prior to that, like how Stevie had mentioned, she was kind of put on the side. I was kind of put on the side as well, so that we could train and get our skills to where they needed to be, get our conditioning where it needed to be, get our diet where it needed to be. So it was about 8 months and then 6 weeks added on to that for my first pro fight.
And then you basically finished him in 30 seconds. So you and then after that fight, how long was it before you got back in the gym?
I was back in the gym that following Monday.
Damn.
That following Monday, because we didn't sustain any injuries. Nothing was hurting, so we were right back in there.
No celebrations, no nothing?
That's what you got the day for.
Okay.
Right? I mean, afterwards, we went out. I went out with the family. We had some dinner. That was our celebration.
Yeah.
You know, we took Sunday to rest and back on the gym on Monday. You know?
And then you started working on those things that you...
Yep. Started working on those things that I saw. We make sure that we record these things just so that we could go ahead and we could study them and work on the things that we need to be working on. So yeah, as soon as we were right back on the gym, that was on top of my mind. I was like, let me focus on this. Let me focus on this. Let me make sure I'm not making this mistake. Let me make sure I'm doing this better.
Right.
So that's just kind of how it's always been, you know?
Yeah. So after you get into that fight, you go into another one. You've had 5 more since then.
Yeah.
What would you say your biggest you keep going into them? Are the opponents like, did you 30 seconds the next guy? Like, you know, you obviously,
right.
You know, your hardest fight to date. Like, what was that like?
Oh man, we go ahead and what we're trying to do is make sure that our opponents get better and better every time we're fighting. Mm-hmm. So we're looking for more of a challenge every time we fight, right? So what we're trying to do is just keep challenging myself, just keep showcasing my skills, just show how much I've grown as a fighter. And I would probably say, with that being said, I would probably say the last opponent was probably the most difficult, but that's always going to be the case because we're always looking for a more difficult opponent.
You have a fight coming up on June
13th.
Right. Where is it going to be at?
It's going to be right here in Tampa.
Okay, where at?
It's going to be at the downtown Hilton.
That's fire. That's fire. So your next opponent is going to be better than your last opponent.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
How are you approaching this fight? Like,
oh man, I'm approaching it harder than I've approached any fight, to be honest, because it's right here in my hometown. You know, I want to put on a show for the people. I want all the fans to see me now. You know, I haven't fought in Tampa in years. You know, since I was back in my amateur days, I haven't fought in Tampa. So this is going to be my homecoming. And that being said, it means a lot to me. Mm-hmm. I'm taking it very, very seriously. You know, we're up in our training, we're up in our nutrition, and everything that we can do, we're going ahead and we're making sure that we're doing, because this one means a lot to me. You know, I really want to show everybody just how great I am, just how good I've become, and just how much better I'm going to get.
That's crazy, man. It's dope, man. So you June 13th, you're fighting. You're gonna have your people there, obviously, your supporters. Have people been telling you like, "Yo, man, we're so excited that you're gonna be in Tampa," because you fought everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
I think your last one was in North Dakota, South
Dakota. Yep. So
yeah.
We've been around.
Yeah, you've been in enemy territory. You know?
Yeah.
How is that? Like, you're traveling?
The way I look at it, I feel as if it takes a lot of pressure off because we don't know who's over there, right? So that being the case, it's like we know what we came to do. We know what we're going to do, right? So it's just a matter of going out and doing it. Over here, I think it becomes a little bit more difficult just because of all the fans and of the following that I do know that I have out here, right? So just doing that in front of everybody, I think does make it a little bit more nerve-wracking.
Right.
But at the same time, I think it makes it more rewarding at the same time, because after the fight, right, that's when I'll be able to, again, everybody will see just how good I've been, just how good I've become, and just how good I can be, right?
Yeah.
They'll finally be able to see my true potential and just how good I've become, and that means a lot to me. That means a lot to me.
As far as like fighters from Tampa, right? Would you consider yourself one of the best fighters in Tampa, or like how would you rate yourself in Tampa?
I would definitely say number one.
Oh wow, yeah, number. They're not even playing games, right?
No.
Number one.
Number one.
What makes you number one?
My work ethic. I work harder. You know, I won't be outworked. I refuse to be.
Yeah.
I won't be outworked. You know, there's always a new level that I'm striving for, and I have aspirations that I'm always looking to accomplish, and I feel like that stands me out from the rest. You know, I don't know any other 135ers in Tampa that work as hard as I do.
Aspire. Do you know any 135ers in Tampa that are like at a higher level than you?
Yeah.
No.
No, I don't.
Do other 135ers, and you don't have to say their names, but the 135ers want to get work with you or call you out? Like, how does that make you feel when people do call you out?
I'm not gonna lie, I get excited.
Yeah?
I get excited because I'm always ready for a challenge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we could go ahead and they could call me out, and all right, you want to call me out? Okay, cool. It's time to prove who's the best, right? So I look forward to the challenge. I look forward to continue to prove why I think I'm the best, why I am the best.
Does it bother you that people call you out?
I would say it did at the beginning, just because I would feel a little insulted by it.
Why would you feel insulted?
Because I feel like they think that they're better than me, and that's why they're calling me out, right? And that's not the case. But now I'm not even gonna lie, I look forward to it, because I look forward to proving myself. I look forward to showing why I'm the best. You know what I mean? So for me, any challenge is welcome. You know, I look forward to it.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying, man. Like, I know obviously I'm not even on the same level as you, but when somebody, it's, you know, and I do music in the industry, and when people are like, oh man, I wanna, you know, I wanna show you my stuff. It's like, I that's dope, right?
Yeah.
It's like, play my mixtape. It's like, bro, like, you know, there's levels to this stuff,
Right.
right?
Right. No, and it's the same with boxing.
Yeah.
There's definitely levels to it, but I think the way you prove it is a little bit different in boxing.
Yeah, for sure. You prove
it with your hands instead.
Yeah, your hands.
So I'm not one to be doing too much talking. I'm like, okay, we'll figure it out. We'll see.
Do you hear a lot of people yap?
Not to my face.
Okay.
Not to my face. I don't hear a lot of people yapping. I hear here and there, people said this, people said that. Okay, cool. Let them keep saying it. There's a reason they're not saying it to my face. You know? So that's the way I like to look at it.
For sure. Criticism is gonna happen, right? Are you like
always?
Right. Are you prepared for that? Like, are you prepared for people to say the good and the bad?
100%. Like I said, I feel like I'm my biggest critic. You know what I mean? Like I said earlier, I wasn't satisfied with my 30-second knockout. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I knew I could do better, right? So it doesn't really bother me what people have to say. Everybody's kind of got their own opinion. They got their own agenda. They got things that they got to say. Hey, man, that's cool. I know who I am. I know what I've done, what I've accomplished, and I know what I'm capable of accomplishing, right? You talk what it is that you got to talk, you know, and it's not going to bother me. The work's still going to be done, right? At the end of the day, my work is still going to be done. I'm still going to do what I got to do, and I'm still got to, there's always a job to do, right? And my job is to be the best, and I'm going to continue to try to be the best.
That's fire. So, you know, and I told you this earlier, is like, we're going to talk about boxing probably most of this podcast, but what do you do outside of boxing besides put your hand in people's mouth? Like what?
Um,
What does Chino like to do?
so I'm also a personal trainer. So I teach other people how to box.
Oh wow.
So I teach other people how to fight. You know, how to, so that they have hands to put in other people's mouths.
Wow.
So,
Do you enjoy that?
oh, I love it. I feel like it's something that's very rewarding to see. I work primarily with kids, so you know, all the time I'll get kids that are being bullied or they get picked on, and
Wow.
it's sad to see, you know, that they're going ahead and they're getting picked on or whatever, and nothing's more rewarding than them coming back and be like, hey, you know, I confronted my bully, you know what I mean? I beat him up, I pieced him up. I'm like, that's awesome. You know, I kind of got to be like, in front of their parents, I'm like, oh, well, you got to make sure, you know, that you didn't throw the first punch or whatever. I'm like, what'd you hit them with? Which combo was it?
Right.
You dropped them?
Wow.
Or their parents will go ahead and they'll text me, hey, they got in a fight. I'm like, did they win? Right? That's what I'm getting paid for, right? That's my job. My job is, hey, they won though, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
You know, I got to make sure that they're capable of handling them.
Defending themselves, right? Are the parents happy?
They are. They are. When I get stories like that, they're more than happy. It's like after that, it's almost like a contract sign. Boom. Okay, we got another 6 months with you. I like what you're doing.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, okay, cool.
Do you feel like, and this not just what you see in the kids, but even in yourself, do you feel like there's like something that it does to your confidence, like boxing?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I feel as if not just for the kids, definitely the kids, because I've definitely seen a lot of these kids come out of their shells and be more confident and be really who they wanted to be, you know. And I would say the same for myself. I would say I was a little bit more quiet, you know, when I first went to the gym, and as I went ahead and I started training more and I started building that confidence again, and it's the confidence in that hard work, right? That confidence in, you know what you're capable of, you know what you're capable of going through. And I feel it changes you. It helps you out a lot. I mean, I feel like it helps just knowing that you could kind of put your hands on anybody you want in the room should anybody try you. But
so it's got to be a different kind of like confidence, like, you know, for sure.
It's a different feeling for sure.
Like I'm not gonna go around looking for trouble, but
right. But you know, should trouble find you, right? You never go looking for trouble, but it always kind of has a way of finding you, right? Yeah. So at least you know if it does find you, you can handle it.
Yeah, that's fire, man. That's fire. I mean, and seeing those kids, you know, like you're giving back to the community. You know, obviously it's a job, but you're still giving back to them, right?
Right.
Like the first thing you say is like, "Hey, did you win?" Like, you know, and then, when you see that in the kid, like, and in the kid's face, like how do you like? Obviously they're motivated now, right?
Right.
Because they're like, "Oh man, like
this is working." You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're not gonna go through life feeling victimized,
right?
That's what I feel like is the biggest thing is like.
I feel like for me the biggest thing is all this knowledge that I've learned throughout the years. What good is it if I'm not passing it on? You know, the same. You know, that's why I try to help my little brother. He fights amateur. He's 8-0. He's a beast. But again, I've been trying to help him out and show him what I know as much as possible, and just kind of show him the ropes. You know, kind of play that big brother role that I feel as if I never really had. So I kind of try to be the best big brother that I can. Okay, this is what you got to do in this situation. This is what you got to do in this situation, and just pass that knowledge on, just to help them out. You know what I mean? Because I feel as if there's no point in having all this knowledge if it dies with you.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, it's kind of selfish, right?
It's selfish. I feel like you should share it. You know, if you have anything, I feel as if you should share it, give back. You know what I mean? I feel like my trainers didn't have to give me all the time and effort that they put into me. So why not give the time and effort to the next generation?
For sure.
You know?
I have brothers too. I have an older brother and I have a younger brother. Are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest, yeah.
Are you the oldest in the whole family?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were firstborn.
Yeah, I was firstborn. Yeah.
Okay, so you feel like you have a responsibility to them, to your family.
Oh yeah. I joke all the time that I'm like the third parent.
Oh yeah.
I try to. I don't have to really worry about them so much anymore because they've already grown up. But
Yeah.
I was always trying to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not having trouble with anything, you know. And just kind of be there in any way that I can. And I feel like I continue to try to be there, not just for them, but for my family in any way that I can, you know. And I want this boxing to work because I do want to give back to the family for everything that they've done, everything that they've sacrificed for me. I want to make sure that I'm giving back to them as much as possible.
That's big, man. I see whenever you're talking about your family, you kind of get a little, you know, like a little piece of emotion. Like, how has this journey been with them?
It's been rough. It's a journey, you know. Every journey has its ups and downs, you know. Just because it's not easy, you know, there are a lot of sacrifices, there are a lot of things that you got to do, you know, there's a lot of missed events, you know, missed holidays here and there. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's something that I would do a million times just for them and just to make sure that I'm going ahead and giving back to them and helping out as much as I possibly can. Yeah. Right. Just because every day I get to live my dream, and that's because of them, you know. So I'm eternally grateful for them and everything that they've done for me.
That's fire, bro. It's dope, man. You can tell like you're invested and they're invested. You know?
Of course. Yeah. No, I have a whole team. I have a whole team.
That's fire, bro. So your brother boxes. Your middle brother. Does the younger brother box too, or?
So the youngest boxes.
Oh wow.
Middle one, not so much. We taught him kind of enough just to defend himself, just because like we were mentioning earlier, there are people who pick on other kids, you know. Yeah. So we taught him to get his hands right, and that never happened again.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a track record of teaching bullies. Not to mess with your people.
If not me, my middle brother or the youngest, the middle one especially makes up for that.
Right.
For us, you know. I only try to put hands on people if it's in front of a crowd. If it's in front of, you know.
Yeah, you know how to walk.
Right. But sometimes they don't.
Yeah. So yeah, let's you know, before we got one more, you know, couple minutes. Like, do people try you like not knowing?
I would say I haven't had a problem with that for the most part.
It's good.
Again, I do try to de-escalate the situation because I know what I'm capable of. I'm just not a normal person who's going to get in a fight, right? If I get in a fight with somebody, it's going to be really bad for them.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just something I don't want to get caught up in. So for the most part, I try my best to de-escalate the situation, get out of the situation, and just really learn to walk away from stuff like that. Just because at the end of the day, it's like, what am I going to get out of this? Yeah. Right? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this, right? I'm going to knock this dude out. Who knows what's going to happen? Right?
Yeah.
Maybe the cops will show up, right?
Right.
Maybe.
No, not maybe. Absolutely.
Right. And once they see I'm a professional boxer, that's going to be a real problem.
Right.
You see what I mean? So for me, I always try to look a couple steps ahead, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't worth it. To me, this isn't worth it. You know, luckily I haven't been in any really bad situation where I had somebody who was really, really trying to fight. But
I mean, you seem like a cool, like level-headed. I've met you, bro.
I try to be.
Yeah, I've never even seen you like. I mean, I've seen what you've done in the gym, and it's kind of like, whoa, this guy's another level. Like you kind of turn it on. So
I feel like it's a little different. You know what I mean? Again, that stems down to the motivation and everything that I'm going ahead and I'm trying to do. You know, if I'm going ahead and I'm getting this altercation with somebody just on the streets, what am I gaining out of that?
Yeah.
I'm not gaining anything out of it. You know what I mean? And all it's going to do is hurt me down the line. Yeah. So why even bother? right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a really hard skill to learn, to be able to just kind of push your pride to the side and just walk away from something. But I know that that's something that, as a professional boxer, that's something that I have to do.
Yeah, and you are a true professional, bro. You are. Bro, when we you're welcome. When we come back, I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions, a little bit of advice for up and coming boxers. You know, I'm trying to always soak up game, man.
Of course.
And then, you know, kind of like, you know, ask a little bit more personal questions and then, you know, promote this fight. I'd like to get to see what, you know, where we're coming with. So
All right, fat.
all right, brother. So Chino, I have to ask these questions, man, because, you know, it's important. Like, is there a Mrs. Chino Lopez? Like, do you have time for that?
No, I really don't think I have time with, especially in camp right now. You know, we're training twice a day. In between, work is right in between. So
Yeah.
I say I'm very focused right now. Unfortunately, I just don't have time like that.
Time for that.
Mm-hmm.
That like, they say women are bad for the legs too.
Yeah, they say WWL, women weekend legs.
So is that your philosophy sometimes?
No,
No?
no, I wouldn't say that's my philosophy. I would just say it's just a matter of time. Right now I just don't have time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm very focused on what it is that I need to do, and just keep doing what it is that I'm trying to do. You know, there's always a goal. There's always something that I'm trying to reach. So that being the case, you know, if something works, cool. If not, I still got stuff I got to do.
Yeah, no big deal. So like right now, and this to all the ladies out there, I'm not trying, but would you feel like women would like distract you from, you know, a girl or girls could distract you from your goal?
I feel like it's something that's definitely possible. I feel like for the most part,
Yeah.
it is. Just because, again, I don't have that type of time.
Right, and it would take up time.
And my time is very limited. You know, the time that I do have, I want to spend sleeping before I train again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or eating before I have to go train again.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
That time in between is mostly used for recovery.
Yeah. Man, you are super dedicated, man.
I try my best.
Yeah.
My best.
Like you're like focused, which is dope, man, because like, do you ever like meet like ladies that'll like be like, oh, like,
no.
You don't meet girls?
Every
Man, you work at the gym, don't you? They gotta be over there, man. I go to the gym at like 5 or 6 o'clock, man. It's like the strip club, bro. Are you serious? And I'm trying to stay focused.
I'm trying, yeah. No, I stay focused as best as I can. You know, if I'm at the gym working, I'm at the gym working. If I'm at the gym training, I'm at the gym training.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, you're dedicated.
I'm not trying to do I'm not trying to be this socialized and stuff. You know what I mean? Again, I got a job that's got to be done.
Chino, it's just getting me. I'm really, really finding it hard to find out though, bro, that like no girls come to talk to you. They don't be sliding in the DMs after they see you knocking people out.
Couple here and there, but
you just give them the Heisman. You just give them the curve. You slip, you bob and weave. You keep it.
I just like keeping it on the low.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just like staying. I don't like being out there. I don't like, you know, going out doing like clubbing, like all this bars, all that nightlife. Like that's just not me. You know, that's not what I want to be. That's not where I want to be.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like if I find somebody who aligns with my motivations and what it is that I'm trying to do in this life, or that's supportive of it, then that's definitely something that I could see myself doing in the future, or somebody I could see myself being with in the future. But until then, I'll just keep training and keep working on myself. Yeah,
bro, that's fire too, because, you know, and obviously, you know, I'm married, so you know, this has nothing to do, but like certain, in past relationships that I've had, you know, people will hold you back.
Yeah.
You know, like
of course,
friends, different relationships, girlfriends, you know, your homeboys, like. Have you ever felt like that too? Like you've had?
Oh yeah, I feel like unfortunately it's just something that kind of comes with it. You know, I feel like there's a level of growth in every person, and I feel like sometimes you just outgrow a person, or sometimes your rate of growth is faster than another person's, and you just outgrow somebody, they outgrow you. I think that's just kind of something that's bound to happen. I feel as if I'm very special and different in the fact that I'm always looking for improvement. I'm never satisfied with where I'm at or what I've done. And that kind of comes in all aspects of life. And I feel that's kind of what makes it a little bit difficult too in my relationships, my friendships, my relationships, any type of relationship that I have, just because some people are okay with being average and I'm not. I'm really not. The only thing I'm afraid of is obscurity. You know what I mean? I'm always trying to get to that next level.
That's fire, bro. That's fire. In a perfect world, man.
In a perfect world.
In a perfect world. Well, in a perfect world, how would you see Chino Lopez's life going?
In a perfect world, I'm boxing full time. In a perfect world, I buy my mom a house. In a second world, I retire my father. In a perfect world, I'm a world champion. Multiple world championships. Different weight divisions. In a perfect world, I go down as one of the best ever. To me.
That's fire. What about after boxing?
After boxing?
I know it's a long...
Yeah, after boxing, I don't know. I feel like the love of the sport, I'm never really going to truly be done with boxing, right? Whether that be like going in and becoming a trainer of some sort, or making a business after, boxing with all the money that I made through boxing, But again, it would always be something based around boxing. I feel as if that's too much of a passion, too much of a big staple of mine to ever truly just stop. You know what I mean?
For sure. 135. Who are the people in your weight division now? Champions that...
Shakur's up there.
Tank, Shakur.
I think Tank just moved up. But Tank, Keyshawn Davis is up there. We got good talents up at 135. They're coming up as far as prospects. There's a lot of good prospects that are up there right now that I'm looking to be up there too.
Yeah, Chino Lopez up there.
Yep.
All right, man. So we had, obviously, you're seeing the weekend of boxing that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Devin Haney, Teo, and Ryan. How do you feel about like what's going on in boxing right now?
Man, I gotta say, I was pretty let down by this weekend because it was supposed to be a huge weekend for boxing. I don't think Haney or Garcia put up an exciting fight. I think it was really boring, to see, a lot of them just kind of running around the ring the whole time. The same way Skull versus Canelo. Skull was just running the whole time. And I think it kind of put a bad taste in people's mouths. That's not the media. That's not what we need in boxing right now. You know what I mean? I feel as if it had a lot of good coverage and media leading up to it, and then it just didn't deliver.
Yeah.
I think Teofimo was a standout on that card. I think he did what he was supposed to do. I think he did everything but stop him. Haney and Garcia, they were just boring fights.
Yeah.
And the same with the Canelo fight. It was a boring fight.
Yeah.
Skull didn't come to fight. He just came to run.
I definitely think about Teo, that he looked good. He fought a good fight. I do think it was a little lackluster, right? A little. And then Haney was running around scared. I feel like that was not what we were used to seeing. But I did think that Rolly knocking Ryan down was a huge like upset. Like
I do think so.
Yeah.
I thought Garcia had that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Going into the fight, and then he got knocked down, and I don't know. I feel as if he never truly recovered from it. I think he was just always scared of getting hit again.
Yeah.
And then Rolly, I mean, give him credit to where it's due. He was able to defend that left hook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He did what he was supposed to do. And the craziest part that I saw was just how much he was using the jab.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen Rolly use the jab that much before.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he came in, he did what he was supposed to do. Still a boring fight.
Yeah. Not what you wanted to see.
No.
Do you think that hurt the chances? Like, do you think the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight, the first one was like?
Oh, I think all the hype is gone for the second.
Yeah.
I think they killed all the hype on this card for this one. And I feel like that was the big showing for them to lead up to that fight.
Yeah.
And I don't think they delivered at all. I don't think any money's to be made. I think all the hype for it is killed, I think.
Do you think PEDs had anything to do with it?
I'm not gonna say no, because anything could happen. I do think that there's a big difference in the physicality versus the first time they fought versus Ryan in this fight. I don't know if he wasn't taking this fight as seriously. I'm not sure what it could be. It could be PEDs, right?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know the full story.
Right.
If I had a guess, I would say it played a role into it, but I don't think that was all of it. I think at this point, Ryan Garcia just isn't hungry anymore. I don't think he has that hunger to fight. You know, I think it's all just about money for him at this point. I don't think he's fighting to collect any world titles, to go down in history, or for the love of the sport. I think he's just doing it just straight for the money at this point. And I think he got knocked down and hurt, and I think he thought to himself, like, internally, screw this. Why am I gonna risk getting knocked out? You know what I mean? I'm getting paid how much money? Let me just try this out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. He's more like an influencer now.
I think it was more of a mental thing, more than anything.
Yeah. It's crazy, man, because you really I like Ryan Garcia. I think he's funny. I think he's and he got hands.
Of course.
But you just like you said, man, skills and stuff looks like it's not really there.
I think it's just the hunger.
Oh yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. Marvin Hagler said is it's hard to run in the morning and wake up in the morning when you're sleeping in silk sheets.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's comfortable. He's living life. You know what I mean? How he's made how much money?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just off that Devin fight, he caked up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He went ahead and he paid that fine for missing weight like it was nothing.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, cool, take that.
Yeah. And he bet on himself on the fight and he won. So it didn't even matter.
Nope.
It's crazy.
Nope.
Bro, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to get into boxing?
I would say to always just keep learning. Keep learning, watch the greats, study them. Again, it's the mental aspect, right? You're only as good as you train, how much work you're putting in. I would definitely say work hard, study, be smart. You know what I mean? Figure out how it is that you want to fight and study people who fight like that, right? Figure if you want to, use your feet more, look at people who use their feet. Look at Lomachenko, look at Muhammad Ali, look at Manny Pacquiao, right? Look at Mayweather, all people who use their feet, right? And you'll pick up things here and there, I think that's really the key, to just make sure that you're studying, make sure that you're learning, make sure that you're picking things up, and never be satisfied. Never be satisfied. Always look for the next. Always look for the next.
That's fire. I have a question, right? If you could tell your younger self a piece of advice, what would you tell your younger selves?
That's a good one. Any advice?
For you at a certain, even something, sometimes I look back and then be like, yo, you're gonna be all right, dog. Like,
I would say keep grinding, champ. Listen to your dad. Listen to your pops.
yeah.
He knows what he's talking about.
Do you feel like that? Like earlier, you kind of like,
I feel as if it kind of put a strain on me and my dad's relationship growing up, just because it's like I didn't see the vision, right? I didn't see what he was trying to do for me. All I saw was, oh, he's making me do extra sprints. Oh, he's making me study this. Oh, he's making me do that, right? But I didn't see what it was doing for me, right? I didn't see the vision behind it, right? I could just kind of thought it was like punishment, not. And as I've gotten older, I've grown that appreciation for him, because I'm like, damn, like, you really did do this for me. You really did make me work harder. And now I'm seeing, the rewards for it, right? Now my stamina's getting better. My ring IQ has gotten better. You know what I mean? And it's not that it was all on accident. This was all of his making. You know what I mean? Because he told me to do this, right? And so looking back at it, I'm like, I should have listened to him more. I should have not given him so much resistance as much as I did when I was younger, not give him as hard as a time as I did. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I tell myself. Keep grinding, champ, and listen to your dad.
that's fire, bro. It's good that you know that now, man. Teddy, man, when he tells you something, man, like Teddy, when you tell us something, you don't listen now.
Yeah, but at the same time, if he did listen to me, would it be a fighter?
Right. Bruh, so what can the people expect to see from you June 13th here at the Hilton downtown in Tampa?
They can expect fireworks.
Yeah.
Expect a grand show of skill, of strength, of stamina, of everything. I'm coming prepared. You know what I mean? We never left camp. We've always been in camp. We don't have no days off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
You don't have to get ready. You stay ready.
we stay ready. We don't get ready, right? Stay ready so we don't have to get ready. So expect fireworks. Expect an amazing show, an amazing display of not just of boxing, but of skills, of everything. Peak performance.
Wow. That's dope, bro. And where can people get tickets? How can they reach out to you if they want to come see it? If they're in Tampa, like, what do they have to do?
So there's a link. I have it on my Instagram. I'm also selling tickets personally. So if you want to hit me up, it's Chino Lopez _official. I'll be selling tickets as well. Yeah, and you could also buy them online. Just write my name, Aaron Lopez.
That's fire, man. Bro, any last messages, shout out sponsors or anything that you want to do to give anything last message to the people who are following you or any of those things?
I want to give a shout out to Monette Flowers for all the hard work that he's put me through, for helping me see me through this journey. Shout out to Stevie. She's a beast.
Steve Morgan, yeah.
You can go ahead, just keep collecting titles. I want to shout out to everybody at the gym, all my fans, everybody, all my family. I say I don't have a team. I have family. You know what I mean? My team is my family. I got love for all you guys.
Yeah, man. I love being in the gym with you. I feel like when we're doing planks for 15 minutes. And I see you not dropping, like, it does give me motivation. Or when we're running the 2 miles or the mile intervals, man, I see you guys pushing, man. It makes me want to go harder, man. It's crazy because I never, like, I was telling my wife this last night, man. I didn't never think like this is something that I would be doing or pursuing like that, especially later on in my life,
Right.
So it's like, but I'm grateful that I'm doing it, and
Right.
people are looking at it, like you say, it gives me a confidence that I know I could just, like, we were in the gym the other day, and I'm asking you, like, yo, man, what do you think I could do, man?
Yeah.
Because I can't give you any advice, but can you give me some?
Yeah, of course. Whatever I could help, whatever I could do to help, always. I feel like we have a lot of great people at the gym too.
Yeah.
Who they motivate me too, right? So it's not just a one-way street. You know what I mean? So I try to motivate everybody. And I get motivated by the people that are there too that are working. You know what I mean? So Everybody at that gym, everybody at the gym's a beast.
Yeah, bro. You're a true leader, Chino. We appreciate you being on the Youngest in the Yacht Club, dog.
Of course, bro. Thank you.
Do me a favor, shout out your social and the day that you fight and where again.
It's gonna be June 13th at the Downtown Hilton in Tampa, right? And my Instagram is @ChinoLopez_official.
Yeah, make sure y'all go grab tickets. Make sure y'all go support sponsors. Chino's looking for sponsors as well, right? You need people to go and make this dream, take it to the next level, man. So obviously he's not gonna be. It's gotta fit his brand. So no women's underwear and anything like that. Yo, Dave Mundell actually has women's underwear, bro.
Does he?
Yeah, he was on the show too. So,
That's awesome.
bro, thanks for coming through,
Thanks
Chino.
for having me, man.
Yeah, man, appreciate you.